Pawan Kumar. I'm the chairman of the Karnataka chapter of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. Welcome again on behalf of IACC. Having said that, we wish to thank the government of Karnataka for partnering with us and distinguished guests on the stage, Mr. Srinivasan, Mr. Advani, Mr. Raju, Mr. Puneet Jain, and our chief guest for this morning, Mr. Kumar Pushkar, the managing director of KSTDC. It's a pleasure to have you all with us today, and we hope that the distinguished panelists who are here this morning will contribute to the theme of leveraging technology to boost tourism.
Sri Advani ji, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to be associated with all of you today at this Indo-US promotional of travel and tourism. Karnataka is the most attractive tourism destination in India. It has a long history and culture. On June 7, 2016, the United States and India announced that the two nations would participate in a year of travel and tourism partnership in 2017. It kicked off in February as a platform allowing both governments and private sectors to increase travel and tourism between the two countries.
Mr. Kumar Pushkar, probably Karnataka is not something alien to tourism. Even before tourism started, people used to come to Karnataka, and Karnataka was a natural place for tourists in this part of the country. And probably a little effort and more effort would put Karnataka on the map as far as the bilateral tourism relationship. As economy, according to World and Tourism Council, WTTC, the travel and tourism sector contributed to 120 billion or 6.3% to India's GDP.
Karnataka came out with a tourism policy in 2015. Probably many of you might be aware. That is only to support people in this business, in this industry. I request all of you to have a look at the Karnataka's tourism policy and then take advantage of that. We are there to support everybody who wants to take up any kind of development. In fact, homestays has been one of the things which has been growing like anything in Karnataka. And more than 4,000 homestays are supposed to be operating in Coorg district itself. But then unfortunately there is no regulation. We are coming out with some kind of a guidelines, regulation. We are also asking all of them to get registered so that we maintain some kind of a standards. Those are extremely important whenever we create new facilities. Otherwise, uncontrolled growth of tourism may lead to, too much of destruction of the environment, culture and traditions. So we need to have a controlled growth of tourism to ensure sustainability in this sector. Sustainability is the most important thing, whether it is environment or tourism sector.
I would also like to thank Mr. Srinivasan and Mr. Raju from IACC. With this, we end the inaugural session. We would now start the first panel discussion. The first panel discussion is on role of social media in promoting tourism. So I would now request Shubha and the panelists to come on stage.
I request Mr. N.V. Srinivasan to kindly present a memento of gratitude and appreciation for having come here and given us his experiential insights.
Maybe I'll quickly answer this question by asking you guys a quick question. And you guys can just do a quick show of hands. How many of you are on Facebook? Okay, Twitter? Instagram? LinkedIn? Snapchat? You get where I'm going. The number of channels today that brands have to be present because that's where the customers are. I think everyone in this room has a social footprint, and therefore it's extremely important to understand that today social media is not just one channel, but it is the main channel where conversations and interactions happen. Decisions are made on social media. References, referrals, recommendations, conversations, every little part of our life today is impacted by conversations and interactions that we're having online. Especially being in the travel sector and the tourism sector, we're in an industry where we're not talking about commoditized purchases. Travel by itself is an extremely emotional experience. It's an emotional journey. It's an aspirational journey. And therefore, a lot of those opinions, a lot of those aspirations are shaped by conversations that are happening online. So therefore, today for us, I mean, just speaking about what we do, and we build small group community travels for special interest groups, everything from women only to yoga to self-drive and so on and so forth. A large part of what we believe will happen with travel going forward is the rise of communities coming together to make and form decisions, and therefore those decisions need to be centralized in a place where people are every day. Just going back to the question that I asked all of you about the different social media footprints that you guys all have, I think the understanding therefore is if that's where the customers are, that's where we need to be.
Today you walk in and there are 2 or 3 people there who will come up and say, hey, you were in Bangkok last weekend. I hope you ate at Gagan. You know? So time has changed, and this is very clearly due to the impact of social media, with everyone instantly sharing what they are doing. So for us at the Flight Center Travel Group, we try to use social media as one of our channels to reach out and engage with our existing customers and with prospective customers.
It is going to be very, very damaging. So that is one thing that we are really morbidly scared of, at least in the hotel industry, because something may be right or wrong, but it goes viral, you know, and then it takes really huge amount of effort to kind of, you know, undo the damage that it can cause in just a few seconds. So that's what we are a little worried that how we want to
address that. Yeah.
Social media today has become more powerful than even Google. In fact, Facebook itself has launched many tools that ensure that Facebook campaigns are much more targeted than Google. This allowing advertisers to micro-target their campaigns. So it's really, you know, it's changed the way we do business in a way, because
all our people today is, in terms of social media, is that social media is your new lobby. And you got to be present in that. For us as hoteliers, lobby is like a temple. We need to be there to meet our guests and do whatever we have to do over there. And that's what is changing the landscape for hoteliers as well, that social media is your new lobby and you've got to be present on those platforms.
Segments within the US society, why don't you start with Indian Americans? Their population runs into millions, and there are lakhs of Indian Americans of second generation who are not coming to India. They have an emotional bonding. So I think we need to categorize these societies instead of treating them as a uniform block. Other than Indian Americans, Indian diaspora itself, including persons of Indian origin in South Africa, in Mauritius, there is a significant population. Maybe we could play on their emotional bonding with India. Thank you. This is my suggestion.
Thank you.
I fully agree, and that's what we've been talking, like a targeted campaign. But I just wanted to bring another point, and I know we can all, you know, get on any dais and talk about infrastructure, you know, government bashing and all. But I want to tell you how technology changes. Look at our, and this is not my, you know, political affiliation, so please don't get me wrong. But look at our Minister of External Affairs, what Sushma Swaraj has done with technology. You know, you tweet, you get a response, and you don't get a response, but you get the things also to get working for you. So technology can change the way things are looked at. So we really, really got to invest, not only in terms of money, but in terms of our energy, our resources into it, to make sure that we see those results.
Yes, thanks. The lady there.
Hi, good morning. My name is Meenakshi. I'm from advertising background, so I know the...
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kaveri, and I'm going to be moderating the next panel, and the topic is Digital Tools, the Way Forward, specifically in the area of travel and tourism.
So, I was just talking to Kaveri a little while ago. What I would like to see, you know, with the help of technology to promote tourism, is to give an overall good experience to visitors, not necessarily from outside this country, even for someone like me who's inside this country. Given that the state of our infra, if we can develop technology and processes so that visitors can not only see our great buildings, which are, you know, hundreds or thousands of years old, but also the history, the culture, and the series of events.
Sir has spoken about Hampi, heritage, culture, and how these technologies can boost the tourism aspect. We at InRoots exactly addressing these issues basically, and we are trying to showcase India heritage and cultural wealth to the wide audience using technology. So technology, when it comes to technology, the immersive experience is what matters. So that's exactly, we are working on virtual reality, augmented reality, and we have covered more than 58 places in South India.
Right now, technology will be the disruptor and the convergence, both. And if you see an experience, it is what is created once you reach a place, rather than just talking about it from a perspective that, okay, we will be given, like, Bhakta talked about Hampi. Once you reach Hampi and once you are at one of those relics and you want to know more, rather than just talking about the place, is the nearby, how that history, the boulders, the things comes in. That's where technology will help you, that this will, disrupt your just emotion and that this is what the building stands for.
In my point of view, I am from Tamil Nadu, so from the typical city called Madurai. It's a temple city, very familiar to the Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. So every time what Bhakta said is right, because there are people have always lack of information about the particular place and more into the culture, how been built and how been developed, how the transformation happened. And the language barrier is always there. From the last 1 year, the last 2 years, our virtual reality company built something for foreign companies, to be honest, foreign countries. We not started building for India because the problem in India, a lot of people are not aware of about the virtual reality. The technology is still far behind.
So a little open kind of question or thought is that we've been talking about how technology can, help traveling in India to manage the expectations a little bit. And maybe so we don't experience too bad expectations, but also not too good, right? But isn't there a risk that it becomes less? We know exactly how exactly the expectation will be. Isn't there, for me, when I'm traveling in general, it's about adventure. And for me also, traveling in India, which I've been doing when I've been living here for 6 years, it's very adventurous. And that's also part of the traveling. So if you manage the expectation, we know exactly what we're going to get. Isn't there a risk that, traveling just becomes so open? I can just give you a short example. And I've been traveling to Gulmarg in Kashmir, for instance, because I've been skiing there, and I'm a skier, and that was the best skiing ever. And I've been going to the Alps many, many years. And that's also because I didn't really know what to expect. Can you even ski there? So, that's basically my concern here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. If it becomes middle of the path, the travel becomes boring. So sometimes bad experiences are good, contrary to this one, because that's what we'll remember and sometimes cherish. Traveling in a BMTC bus is not exactly a good experience, as someone was telling, but it's an experience we should all. Sorry. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think, but at the same time, we need some sort of predictability. So we need some minimum guarantees, but we should never lose the surprise.
At least there was snow in Kashmir.
Very much. Too much.
You? Well, being a part of the Q&A session, I came almost at the fag end of the Q&A session. I thought quite a lot of thought-provoking issues on whether technology is going to replace human resources in the hotel industry, hospitality industry. I just thought I'll share a couple of thoughts because the allotted time is 7 minutes for me and I don't want to delay your lunch. The good Lord came with 10 commandments. And being a lesser mortal, much lesser mortal, I thought I'll share only 3 of them with you, which I hold close to my heart. The first, Indians can do anything in the world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for being here and sharing with us your thoughts.
Travel and tourism has so many potentials in terms of creating a huge amount of jobs. And it's always interesting to see where travel and tourism and technology meet, because going forward, the meeting is going to be more and more intense. Mr. Vidyashankar, thank you so much for that expose. I think you could have gone on for more than half an hour, both given the depth of what you know and also the topic. We really thank you for your valedictory address.